On the React.js documentation, there is a FAQ section about the component state. Technically, it is talking about the behavior of setState mainly. So today, I'll go through some of the questions here about setState and simulate the answers of them. The reason why I want to cover this topic is that if we understand the behavior of setState well, we can reduce the unnecessary rendering or understand the weird behavior when you make an action which updating state many times. So the first question is, what does setState do? Whenever the state object is updated by a setState function, the component will be re-rendered. Here, I have a button and setState function is called when this button is clicked. And I'm gonna show the code. I have a function updateState, and it has the setState function inside. I'm gonna put console.log inside of render to see rendering visually. And here we can see this component is re-rendered whenever I click this button. The reason why the component is re-rendered by the setState function is that the function shouldComponentUpdate, which exists in the component, determines updating components whenever there is an updated state or props while returning true by default. But React doesn't recommend to use this function to prevent rendering because it may cause the bug. The link for the details added to the description of this video. The next question is about the props and state and their differences. React controls the component's data flow with state and props. The component can receive props, which is short for properties, from the parent component. And by doing this, props make this component reusable. So let's assume we have to make a country card. This is how the country card is going to look like. The flag of the country will be here, and the country name, capital city, language, and more details. We're gonna make this country card as a component, and the rear screen is already here. I created a list of the countries here, and I'm gonna pass each data of country as props. And on the country card component, I can receive those data to display. And I created 3 country cards using one component with props. With this example, it proved using props make the component reusable. On the other hand, the state is the local state for the component. We can think the state is the private for this component, so managing state happens within this component, like setting the initial state and updating the state. The next question is really important, so we have to look at it carefully. Why is setState giving me the wrong value? You remember the button that I clicked to show you re-rendering component by setState. This time, I'll make this button count the number of clicks. I want to check the state when clicking this button happens. So I put a console.log to check, and the default value of this state was 0. But when I click once, it's showing 0. I'm gonna add console.log before the function updating the state and after. I put first and second as a comment to distinguish the values. As we can see, even though we update the state using the setState, the value is printing the same number. This is because setState is asynchronous, so we cannot trust the value of this .state right after updating the state. To get an updated state value, we have to use a setState callback or component.update function. I'm gonna add the callback function and check the second value to compare with the first value. Perfect! Callback function returns the updated state value, which starts from 1. And with the component.update function, we get the same value as a callback function. The next simulation that I'm gonna do is the difference between passing an object and a function in a state. In the previous examples, I was using a setState which got a function. First, I'm gonna make same update state function using an object and a function each. And this function update state double will increment the value by 2 with 2 setState functions inside. And check the result. As we expected, the result is being incremented by 1. This is the same function update state double, but update function is passed instead. The second setState in this function was able to increment the value based on the update current state. So to update the state with the values depending on the current state, we have to pass the function to setState instead of passing an object. So I went through the key points of setState function through FAQ in React Doc. In the next video will be some advantages of React, and I'm sure it helps you understand the behavior of React. Thanks for watching today.